Have you ever heard of the Ogham stones, the ancient Irish monoliths with writings along the edge? They are surrounded by mystery, with no one knowing their exact purpose. Well, I added them into my game and turned into puzzles that let you decipher their inscriptions. Let me simulate the puzzle-solving experience for you. You're an apprentice of a wizard traveling across the world on an important quest. You find a large stone, and only by knowing which wizard it belongs to can you pass further. The three wizards are Mulgach, Bocht, and Kennevendi. But no, it can't be Kennevendi. You remember that earlier you saw a similar stone which held Kennevendi's name. You even wrote it down, depicting the edge of the stone as a vertical line and drawing its etchings as horizontal lines. So knowing what Kennevendi's name looks like, can you tell if the new writing you found means Bocht or Mulgach? You can pause the video if you need time to think. By counting the letters in Kennevendi's name, we can see that it corresponds exactly to the number of sections on the stone. So it would be logical to assume that it would also be the case with the new writing. It has 7 parts, and Mulgach is a 7-letter word, whereas Bocht's name would be shorter. Mulgach is the correct answer, and you are able to pass further. A new symbol is brought to your attention. Can you decipher it? This is a good time to pause the video. From the previous puzzle, we know that the letters in the name correspond to the markings on the stone. And in this one, we need to find how they correspond. First, you might think of matching the symbols by going from top to bottom, but something doesn't add up. There are certain letters that repeat in both names. There are 2 E's in Kennevendi, 2 L's in Mulgach, and the letter U can be found in both names. So those symbols would need to be the same. Now, if we match the letters, assuming that the writing instead goes from the bottom to the top, it suddenly lines up, and all the repeating letters match. So now we know each symbol corresponding to the letters in names Kennevendi and Mulgach, and based on that, we can decipher the new name. The result is Lugni. The next piece of information you find is an inscription with letters given in a specific order. It is damaged, however, and some of the letters are missing. You can use this to decipher a new name on the stone. Pause the video to think of a solution. We already know that we can map the symbols on the stones to the letters in the corresponding names. That's how we can tell the letters C, N, and U in the new name. But there are 2 symbols we haven't seen before. That's why the piece of the alphabet we found comes in handy. If we map the letters in that alphabet section to the ones on the stone, we find that they follow a pattern. The number of lines increases as we follow the glyphs from bottom to top. If we continue that pattern, we can find what the letters R and O look like, and from that, get the missing pieces of the name Cronin. We find another part of the alphabet, which again has certain parts missing. Using that and the previous information, we need to decipher the name on the new stone. This is a good time to pause the video if you want to find the answer yourself. From the previous solutions, we can right away see the letters L, G, N, and I in the new name. And doing the same alphabet transcription in the previous puzzle, we find the letter D. But what is a single small line in the center of the word? We can see it in a previously found piece of alphabet. Here, we need to realize that all the other letters in that column are vowels. And as such, the missing letter is likely also a vowel. The only 2 missing vowels are A and Y. There is, of course, no letter Y in the Old Irish alphabet, but the player doesn't need to know that, and can make a somewhat of an educated guess. They might see that in case of D, Y, L, Y, G, and I, Y would have the same sound as I, so that would be an ambiguous way of transcribing the name. That points us to A as being a more reasonable choice, and the name is Dalagny. In The Land Forgotten, all these names belong to actual characters, and you unravel the story from solving these puzzles. All of the names I'm using have also been found on the actual Ogham stones in Ireland. In The Land Forgotten, I try to show interesting things about different languages through gameplay, and this is one example of that. I have always liked puzzle games of different kind, but often in video games I find that I'm learning interesting things, but about arbitrary systems. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I also like the notion that someone might play The Land Forgotten and through it get an interest in linguistics and learn something about real languages. I would like to note that other games have used Ogham alphabet in various ways. For example, in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can see Ogham inscription on the stone and choose an Ogham tattoo for the character. And there are puzzles using Ogham in games like Nancy Drew, The Haunting of Castle Malloy, and Rhiannon, Curse of the Four Branches. But I believe I'm doing something unique with letting the player figure out the rules of the alphabet on their own. I hope you enjoyed this video. The work on this puzzle is still ongoing, but I am glad to have been able to share it with you at this stage. Let me know if you have any feedback, and I will put links to some Ogham related resources in the description.